Story 1. The drill that wouldn't end. It was supposed to be routine. Just another lockdown drill. They announce it twice a month, usually around third period. I was shelving books in the back when the intercom clicked on lockdown. Drill. This is a drill. Same as always. I did what I was trained to do. Turned off the lights. Locked the side door. Herded the handful of students into the corner near the filing cabinets. 3 sophomores were with me. 2 boys I'd seen before in detention. And a girl with her earbuds still in. None of them looked worried. But I had this weird sense. Like the quiet came to fast. The hallway went dead silent. Like someone had turned the world off. You know that feeling when the air stops moving. Like even your breath is too loud. It felt like that. The girl took out one earbud. We sat. 10 minutes passed. Still no all clear. That wasn't unheard of. Sometimes they test our patience, I guess. But then we heard it. A sound. Distant, sharp. It wasn't a scream exactly. More like someone trying to scream. Through something. Muffled. Repeating. The girl flinched. One of the boys stood up. Probably someone being dumb. He whispered. He went toward the door. Stepped close to the crack between the frame. I almost told him to sit down, but something in his face stopped me. Then the intercom came on again. A slow crackle. And then a voice. Do not leave. Silence. Do not leave the room. Another pause. Do not leave. It wasn't the automated voice. It sounded tired, like someone forcing each word out. Hollow. Dry. Wrong. The boy who had peeked backed away. No reaction. No words. He just sat down, knees to chest. Like a switch had flipped inside him. I whispered his name. He didn't answer. The other two looked at me, eyes wide now. The girl mouthed, "What's going on?" I had no idea. I checked my phone. No signal. No updates. No messages from the office or district. And then we heard the footsteps. Slow. Measured. Not running, just moving. 1 step. Then a pause. Then another. Who walks like that during a drill? The sound passed our door. I thought maybe it was a janitor, a principal, someone checking doors. But it didn't stop. It didn't pause at our door. It just kept going. Until it didn't. Until the steps stopped just out of hearing range. We sat there, frozen. The boy who had peeked was still hugging his knees. And then, the knock. 3 soft taps on the glass panel of the door. Not loud, not rushed, intentional. I didn't move. None of us did. No one was supposed to knock during a drill. Then we heard it, just outside the door. Someone. Breathing. Shallow. Labored. Too close to be real. I covered my mouth. The girl started to cry silent tears. The other boy whispered, "That's not part of the drill." And the voice came again, from the intercom. But closer. Inside. Do not leave. Do not open the door. Do not. And then it cut out. Just a static. The breathing faded. The knock didn't come again. We stayed there. For what felt like hours. No bell rang. No announcement. Just nothing. Finally, the lights flickered. Once. Then twice. Then all the way on. Fluorescent white buzzing into the silence. We looked at each other. The girl stood first, shaking. "I want to go home," she whispered. The boy with his knees up finally spoke. They were looking in. He said, his voice was cracked. Not through the glass, through the crack. I didn't ask. I didn't want to know. I unlocked the door. Against everything I'd been told, the hallway was empty. Too empty. No one in sight. No sounds. No bells. No other classrooms opening. We just walked. No alarms. No explanation. No one stopped us. When we reached the lobby, the doors were still chained. No one outside. No cars. Just fog pressing up against the glass. We waited by the front office until someone showed up. An officer. Eventually. He asked why we weren't in lockdown. I told him the drill never ended. He looked confused. Said there was no drill scheduled today. No record of one. I tried to explain, but he just nodded slowly. Said the cameras probably glitched. but I saw his hand shaking when he wrote the report. He wouldn't look me in the eye. I still don't know what we saw, or what we heard, or who was breathing just outside the door. But I can't stop wondering if anyone else heard the voice that day, or if I'm just slipping. Please, if you've been through something like this, if the drill never ended for you either, tell me I'm not alone. Story 2. Echo in the intercom. I've been teaching science for 14 years at a public high school in Queens. Room 114, North Wing. Tuesday morning. Second period, my 10th grade class was reviewing Newton's laws when the intercom clicked on. It started like any other drill. Flat tone. Brief silence. Then something off. The voice wasn't automated. It crackled, then stuttered. Lock, down. Stay in the NP place. The speaker popped. Went dead. Some kids laughed nervously, assuming a glitch. But I didn't. There was a pause. A long one. Then screaming. Faint, distant, not from the hallway. It sounded like it came through the speaker itself. Not recorded. Not part of a drill. I felt something in my stomach tighten. I told the students to stay calm. Locked the door. Drew the blinds. That's protocol. Then I reached for my phone. Habit. Instinct. I don't know. As I lifted it, the screen lit up. No signal. No bars. Just one message. Pulsing in gray text. Stay where you are. I didn't type it. One of the girls, Sophia, whispered, "Did you hear that?" I nodded, though I wasn't sure what she meant. Then I heard it too. A whisper, not words, just breath, coming from the intercom. No one was speaking. The classroom was silent, but from that little speaker above the whiteboard, something was breathing, slow, uneven. What? I walked toward it. The kids were huddled by the window now, frozen. I stood beneath the intercom, heart pounding, and then it laughed. No rhythm, no humor, just a short burst of static and teeth. That's the only way I can describe it. It sounded like teeth. I backed away, told the kids to stay quiet, pretended everything was fine. I smiled, but my hands were shaking. Then Sophia pointed at the floor. There was a shadow, not mine, just under the door. It wasn't moving, not pacing, not checking rooms like security. Does during drills, just there. Then it bent, a finger thin, too long, slid under the door frame. Black, glossy, searching. I motioned for the kids to back away slowly. No one breathed. Then the intercom clicked again. A voice whispered, "Closer now, 214. It said our room number. And then, louder, "Let me in." Someone knocked, but not on the door. From inside the supply cabinet, just one knock, low, solid. I swear I locked the cabinet Monday. I walked over, holding my breath. Every step felt wrong. The air was thicker, smelled like copper. I touched the handle, and it turned on its own. No one opened it, but the door creaked an inch, then another. It was dark inside. I saw nothing, but I felt it, like being watched through glass, like pressure behind my eyes. I slammed it shut, shoved a chair against it, didn't speak. The lights flickered. The projector blinked on by itself. Static, then an image. Blurry, grayscale. It was room 214, but empty. No students, no me, just chairs, still, and a shape, crouched in the corner, behind my desk. I looked, nothing there, but on the screen, it moved, slowly. Crawling, I pulled the plug. Black screen, silence, then the fire alarm screamed. The kids jumped. One boy started to cry. I grabbed my phone again. Another message, "Don't go out." But the hallway was already filling with students from other classes, some running, some screaming. We opened the door. There was no one in the hall, only footsteps echoing in every direction, but no bodies. Sophia screamed. I turned. The cabinet door was open. No one saw it open. No sound, just open. Inside, nothing, except for one item. That wasn't mine. A school ID, faded, name scratched out, the photo of face blurred beyond recognition. But the shirt, It was a Queens High Science Department polo, exactly like mine. I dropped it, and the intercom whispered, softer this time, "You're not supposed to leave." We ran. No alarms outside, no police. Just blue sky and silence. The principal swears there was no lockdown, no record of a drill, no footage from that hour. But the messages are still on my phone. They don't disappear, even after I reset it. And last night, around 2 a.m., the intercom in my apartment buzzed. Once, then again. I didn't answer, but a voice came through anyway. Room to 114. I'm still there. If anyone hears this, if you've ever had something like this happen at school, at work, anywhere, please tell me what it means. Tell me I'm not the only one. Story 3. Under the desk. Over the line, under the desk. Over the line, they've drilled it into us since freshman year. Lock the door. Lights off. Stay quiet. Stay low. Every time the intercom cuts in with "this is a lockdown," we roll our eyes, slide under the desks, and wait. But something felt different today. Maybe it was the way the announcement stuttered, "Do not leave. Do not leave." Like someone had pressed play and rewind on an old tape. The lights flickered once, then held steady. I was in room 113, back of the class, second desk from the window. Mrs. Talley was out sick, so a substitute sat slumped at the front, scrolling through his phone until the lockdown started. When he noticed the intercom repeating itself, he stood up, walked to the door, hesitated, then just sat back down. Didn't lock it, didn't move. My phone started buzzing. First text was from Aaron and room 104. "WTF, I think there's someone under Mr. H's desk." Not joking. I blinked. Under the desk. Then another message. His legs aren't moving. But there's something else. I was about to type back when a third message lit up my screen, this time from Jonah in room 116. "Whoever is in the hallway isn't walking. They're just standing." I wanted to respond, to say something funny to cut through the growing cold in my chest. But before I could, the substitute slowly turned his head toward me. His face looked drained. But it wasn't fear, it was confusion. He raised a finger and mouthed, "Do you hear that?" There was nothing, just the humming of the air conditioner and the faint buzz of the fluorescent lights. But then something scraped, not loud, like plastic dragging softly against tile. Everyone in the room froze. I looked at my classmates, crouched under desks, clutching their phones, their eyes darting from the door to each other. The substitute didn't move again. Another buzz. Text from Aaron. The face moved. It was smiling. I think it saw me. I wanted to believe it was a joke, a cruel one. But then 3 more messages came in from different people, same wording. The intercom voice just changed. It's saying my name now. I hadn't heard anything in our room. But Jonah's last message hit me harder than the others. There's a hand on the floor, reaching out, not attached to anyone. That was when the substitute got up again, but not like before. His legs moved slowly, as if dragged by invisible strings. He walked toward the windows and stared out, then back to the door. Then quietly he slipped beneath the teacher's desk, just crawled under it, knees clicking. No words, no reason. One of the girls near the door started crying, muffled into her sleeve. Her phone clattered against the floor and slid halfway toward the hallway. No one dared to retrieve it. The scraping sound returned closer this time, and louder, as if someone or something was dragging itself just beyond the door. The lights flickered again, then off. My phone dimmed, then died, though I swear it had 78% just minutes before. I was left holding a cold, black screen, watching shadows shift across the classroom floor. Someone whispered my name, but it didn't come from inside the room. I shut my eyes and tried not to breathe. There was a knock, soft, repetitive. It wasn't on the door, it was beneath me, under the desk. I forced myself to look. Nothing, just gum and dust and a pencil someone had snapped in half. I heard breathing, then the close, to low, not mine. When the lights came back on, the substitute was gone, just gone. No one saw him leave. The desk where he'd crawled under remained still. But now, the bottom wood panel had a faint mark, a smear, like something had dragged out quietly, carefully without moving the desk itself. They said it was a false alarm, just a system. Glitch, no threat, no incident. They let us out after 2 hours. But Aaron hasn't been back to school. Jonah deleted his socials that same night. As for me, I keep hearing that knock, sometimes under my bed, sometimes under my desk at home. If anyone else experienced something like this during a lockdown, please tell me. Please. I need to know it wasn't just me. Story 4. Locked in with silence, I know what a drill sounds like. The rush of sneakers on linoleum, doors clanging, teachers raising their voices, just enough to sound calm. But that day, it didn't feel like a drill, and I knew it. The moment the hallway fell quiet to quiet, not like waiting for the all clear quiet, but something's wrong quiet, like everyone had suddenly forgotten how to move. I had locked myself inside the supply room like I was told. Part of the protocol janitorial staff were instructed to lock down wherever they were. I was in the west hallway closet, no windows, just mops, a step ladder, plastic bins, and the smell of pine cleaner that never really leaves the air. The light flickered once when I shut the door. I didn't think much of it, not then. The intercom clicked on, a voice mechanical, calm. The comm started looping. Do not leave your designated shelter. This is a safety drill. Do not leave, it kept repeating. Always the same tone, no variation. Like it wasn't coming from a live person anymore. Then, between two loops, I heard breathing, heavy, wet, right outside the door. I didn't move, didn't even blink. You know that feeling when your body knows something's wrong before your mind catches up. Like every muscle freezes before you even decide to. That's what happened. The breathing didn't go away. It got closer, not with footsteps, but with this soft, dragging sound like skin against tile, like someone was crawling. And they were slow, deliberate, listening. The loop played again. Do not leave your designated shelter. But that time, I noticed something. The voice. It wasn't exactly the same. There was a whisper layered beneath it. I couldn't understand the words, but I felt them, like someone was speaking directly into my ear. I backed away from the door, as quietly as I could. There were no windows in that room, no vents low enough to crawl through. I was boxed in, and the dragging kept circling. There were no more screams, not since those first 5 minutes, just the loop and that breath. I crouched behind a stack of cardboard boxes, pressed my hand against my chest, trying to steady it. I didn't want the sound of my heartbeat to give me away, but it felt like the walls were closing in, and I swear the room was colder than it had been. I tried to tell myself it was just a drill, just an act, but no drill I've been part of has ever made the power hum flicker like that, or made the air feel this heavy. And none of them ever played pre-recorded warnings layered with whispers. I couldn't explain. At one point, the breathing stopped. Dead silence. I thought maybe it had gone. I inched forward, held my breath, and placed my ear gently against the door. Nothing. Then, a soft knock, right by my head. 3 slow taps. Not frantic, not urgent, just precise. I didn't scream. I couldn't. My throat locked up. My whole body did. The intercom glitched, looped faster. The words slurred into each other, like someone was fast-forwarding the same warning over and over. And between the static, something else whispered, "You've already left." That's when I knew, whatever was out there, it wasn't waiting for me to open the door. It wanted me to listen, to believe, to doubt where I was. I lost track of time. Felt like hours passed. Maybe they did. But I haven't told anyone what I saw when the principal finally opened the door. He said the drill ended 40 minutes ago. Said they were calling my name through the intercom. Said no one heard me respond. I swear I never heard them. Only that loop. Only the voice telling me to stay. Only the breathing. And when I stepped into the hallway, the tiles where the door met the floor, they were wet. Like something had been waiting there. I haven't slept since. Because some nights, when everything's quiet, I hear the loop again. Faint, but it's there. Do not leave. And sometimes, I swear I hear it breathing right outside my bedroom door. If anyone's ever heard the voice, not just in school, but at home, in the silence, please, please, tell me I'm not the only one. Story 5. Room 311, the lockdown alarm went off at 10:43 a.m. I remember the exact time because the class was in the middle of a quiz unit for Civil War and Reconstruction. I had just reminded a kid in the back to keep his eyes on his own paper. Then the alarm buzzed, long, loud, and wrong. It wasn't the usual chime. It had this lower pitch like something groaning through the speaker. The kids looked up. A few laughed nervously, but I stood up fast. I knew the protocol. Lights off, blinds down, door locked. I turned the lock, told everyone to get down behind their desks. Stay quiet, wait for the message. But the intercom didn't say what it was supposed to. No, this is a drill. No wait for further instructions. Just a slow, glitchy loop. Do not leave. This is not a drill. Do not leave. This is not a drill. The lights buzzed softly overhead, still warm from being shut off. A girl near the window whispered that her phone had no signal. Another boy whispered back that he saw a cop car outside. But from where I sat, I couldn't hear sirens. I couldn't hear anything. That's when the bang came from the classroom next door. Just one. A solid thud. Like someone slamming into a desk. Then a nothing. I reached for my phone, no bars. The intercom kept looping. The students were frozen, some with their heads down, some staring at me for answers I didn't have. I tried to breathe slow, tried to keep my voice steady. I'm sure it's a false alarm, I mouthed. Just stay quiet, don't move. But then the lock on our door turned. It moved once, slowly, a faint metallic click that echoed. In the silence, I held my breath. Prayed it was just the custodial staff, security, someone authorized. But the door didn't open. It just stayed shut locked again. The intercom buzzed out for a second, the loop paused, and then a new phrase came through. Do not speak. Do not respond. It watches. I looked at the kids. One girl was crying softly into her jacket. A boy near the corner held up his phone recording. I mouthed, turn it off. He did. We waited and waited. I counted 30 to full minutes like that. The room got warmer. Still no sounds in the hallway. No announcements. Just the quiet. Static from the speaker and a hum in the walls that started to feel louder. Then something passed by the window. Not a person. Not exactly. Just a shape. A shadow that didn't match the light. It moved across the frosted glass on the door to tall, to slow. Like someone dragging a coat. I couldn't help it. I crawled to the door and peered through the tiny slit in the blinds. There was no one there. But on the glass, there was a handprint. Small. Too small for an adult. But not like a child's either. The fingers were longer, slim, almost boneless. And it was facing inward. Like someone had pressed it from inside the room. I didn't speak. I couldn't. Because then I heard it, a soft sound behind me. A whisper, not from a student, from under the teacher's desk. I hadn't looked there. I hadn't checked under the desk. I turned and saw only darkness. No one had moved. No one had spoken. But something in the room had changed. The lights flickered once. The whisper came again closer. And in that moment, I just want to know if anyone else has ever been through something like this. Did you hear the same message? Did your door lock twice? Because something was in that room with us, and I don't think it ever left.